Tuesday, February 9th, 2021, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So Billy is back today. He has been out there already. There's a lot of snow. He enjoys the snow. Had to dry him off when he came in though. Today we're going to look at the dollar and specifically the dollar index. How I think what we're seeing now in the markets, we're seeing the major stock market averages yesterday make new all-time highs. We're seeing commodities pick up. We're seeing the cryptocurrencies pick up as well. Gold and silver, yes, they're lagging a little bit, but eventually I think they will pick up. So that's what we're going to look at. I think what we're witnessing is the dollar keeling over again, and that's why asset prices are going up. Investors want anything but the dollar. Before I go further though, I like to say all my videos are of course my opinion. I'm not advising people where to put their money in. I'm just giving you my opinion. And the other thing I would say, yes, I'm still convinced that the fiat currencies, dollar included, are going to keep going lower only because of policy. It's not because I'm making a forecast or a prediction because I have powers that see in the future or a crystal ball. It's just that looking back historically, when governments and central banks do what our current governments and central banks are doing, it doesn't end well. And but I admit, and this is my favorite poem here by Kipling, If. And he says, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. So yes, I'm not gonna like stand here and tell everyone, oh, it's definitely gonna happen. It's you're wrong, because that's not the way I think. The way I think is more like Kipling's poem. I highly recommend you read that poem. It's a great poem in my opinion. If by Rudyard Kipling. So yes, we're gonna look at the dollar index. We're gonna look at the CRB again because I think it's important. We're gonna look at a chart of the Dow, all longer term, and my how can I say, hope is that you realize as well, like me, that there are of course some assets that are overvalued relative to others, and yes, they're gonna keep going up because the dollar is going to keep going down. We saw yesterday the Federal Reserve wheeled out another president. I think it was a lady. And she said again, we're going to keep rates near zero for another 3-4 years. So, and we noticed yesterday interest rates or the yield in the 10-year was testing that 120 level. The 30-year was near 2%. So they're going to keep doing that. They're going to try to keep yields from rising. They're going to keep the dollar going lower. But yes, before I go into that, let's quickly talk about Tesla, and in particular, the guy who runs that company. Well, he came out yesterday and said that he'd bought, or Tesla, the company, bought 1.5 billion worth of dollars worth of Bitcoin. So what do I think of that? Well, I personally think Tesla is like Amazon, and I'm not taking away anything from Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. I think they are clever guys. They started out with a good idea, but I just have a feeling like Amazon, the company Tesla doesn't how can I say, there's something wrong about it. I remember talking to my wife and other people years ago that Amazon for 20 years never made any money, but it kept growing and the stock price kept going up. There's just something wrong about it. Eventually, of course, it does make money, but there was some kind of power out there in the financial world that kept Amazon going. And I think it's the same thing with Tesla. Yes, they're nice cars, electric cars, but other companies make electric cars, and he's a very good promoter, I guess, and he works very closely with the U.S. government. I think you're getting my gist here of what I think. And all the news that I hear about this company, it's usually not very good news. I think the other day, January 14th, it says Tesla told to recall more than 150,000 cars over safety concerns. We've seen other stories about malfunctions while people are driving, loads of stuff. And what I think is more interesting, though, in terms of electricity, is that it's a shame that Elon Musk took Nikola Tesla's name to start his company. And I think Nikola Tesla would have been disappointed with what the guy who started this company is doing, because I read many years ago about Nikola Tesla, how his idea, and I think he did it. Yes, he did it. There's a tower. I forgot the name of the tower. Is it a Wycliffe or tower on Long Island? He basically did an experiment, and I think it worked. And he wanted to harness electricity from the upper atmosphere, and the towers would harness that electricity, and then the towers would also emit the electricity for free. Of course, someone would have to build the towers, but you can think of it as a public utility. Maybe governments, state governments, and all around the world building towers in certain areas, so you have enough towers to emit electricity. And his idea was that a car would only need an antenna and nothing else, and that's how it would capture that electricity being emitted and drive along. You wouldn't need batteries or anything. We wouldn't need to have power plants to generate the electricity. We wouldn't need to use any fossil fuel or anything else, or coal, or any kind of because, as he said, there was endless electricity around the earth. And unfortunately, Nikola Tesla wanted to do something for the good of humanity. He wasn't that greedy, and that was his, I think, downfall. And it says here in this article, and I recommend you read this article and do a little more research about Nikola Tesla, not the current Tesla car. It says Tesla's big mistake was that he cared more about the people than he did about profit. And yes, there's a lot of speculation. They call it conspiracy theory, people like us, but we're just looking at the history, trying to find out the truth. The speculation is that the big banking and oil interest killed off his idea, and it's not surprising, because the oil business and the banking business have been interconnected through the Rockefellers and others, and look how wealthy they've become. Can you imagine if we didn't have an oil business, and if everyone could use as much energy as they needed, and it was provided free? It's almost like the air. We don't pay for the air, right? So that's what I have to say about Elon Musk and Tesla. There's just something there I don't trust about the company. Not to say that it's not going to do well, but I think there are non-market forces behind it, just like there were non-market forces, and still are probably, behind Amazon. And unfortunately, we've become dependent on Amazon. I think when it started out, it wasn't really compromised, because I remember really well, it was just an online bookstore. That's why I started to use it. And I like my books, so that's all about that. So now let's look at the dollar index, the dollar, and the fact that I think what we're seeing now is the dollar accelerate lower. We're going to continue to see a lot of fiscal and monetary stimulus, not only in the US, but everywhere else. It's going to be important for us to see what they say on Friday at the G7 finance and central bank heads meeting. It's going to be conducted, presided by the UK. It's going to be on Zoom, of course, on the 14th of February. So this is a longer term chart here of the dollar index. I've said in the last few weeks that what I think is happening is a little consolidation here. We tested almost the lows here from February 2008. We didn't really get there, and it rebounded, and it's been consolidating here really pretty much where the market was back then in 2018. So that's the weekly chart. The trend still looks lower to me, and it also looks like we have a double top from beginning of 2017 and March last year. I've spoken many times, of course, about the cycles in the dollar index. I think the top was in 2017, January, and we've got at least 7 years to go in this downward cycle. Search my videos for that. I'm gonna put one or two up in the in the cards and in the description, so you might want to have a look at that. So now another look here. This is a daily chart of the dollar index. So you can see it's kind of keeling over here now. We almost went back to around 92, 91, 70, 91. I think let's see, 75 or thereabouts was the low in August last year, as you can see here. What does it mean that the dollar is going down? Not just against other fiat currencies, but against real things, commodities or stocks and bonds. Well, it means that there's a larger supply of it relative to everything else. They're inflating the system. Yes, and I'll repeat again, inflating the system doesn't mean that you look at the CPI. It means that the money, supply, and credit they're creating, and even the CPI now, the prices are starting to seep through everything. I saw a comment from one of my viewers yesterday. She's in Florida. She said, I assume she has a farm or something. She said pig feed used to be $6.95 in December last year. And now it's like $17 almost. She did admit that the price of pig feed does go up in the winter, but not as much as it's been doing. And I get other comments from all around the world, from Australia, anecdotal evidence that prices are rising. So that's not inflation, the rising prices. That's the consequence of inflation. I bet you the mainstream media, mainstream economists, when commodities start showing up really in a big way in terms of moving higher, they're going to say, oh, that's causing inflation. No, it's a consequence of inflation. But as the dollar is the major reserve currency of the world, and it's used to buy a lot of commodities and other things, the fact that the dollar is losing value makes those things on the other side of the trade look more expensive. So that's what's happening. So just another look here at the CRB index. I showed it to you yesterday. It was looking good already yesterday. This is a weekly chart, and it's made new recent highs. It's comfortably above now that 200-day moving average. Is it going to keep going up in a straight line? No, markets always go up and down like that. So you should expect quite a bit of volatility there. So yes, that's my view of what things are doing, why the markets look so crazy. And it's because the money or the currency is so crazy. They're just like pumping it out there like there's no tomorrow. They're making it look like it doesn't have any value if you can create it with no effort. So with that, let's quickly look at where the markets are. It's almost 9 a.m. London time. So where are we this morning? Well, we've got spot gold up just under $14 at 1844. High has been 1845.50, the low 1825. So we've had quite a sharp jump here from last week. I mean, where did we go? We went down to around 1785. So it's been quite a sharp jump. I would say the key levels on the upside, well, the key level really is 1875 now. That's the level to watch. Silver, so yeah, we're up 0.75% in gold. Silver, spot silver is at 27.55. It's up 1%. High has been 27.64 and the low 27.20. The Dow future is down 21, so fairly quiet. The stock market, NASDAQ, 100 down 12. S&P 500 down 2 points. So it looks very quiet. It's interesting that despite stock market being quiet, gold and silver are doing well. And yesterday, I listened to Greg Manarino's video, and he noted, yeah, all the major indices, and that's very bullish because it's like a Dow theory confirmation. The Dow Industrial, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ Composite, and I think the Russell 2000 all made new all-time highs. But I'll show you a chart of the Dow. I said I was going to show you a chart of the Dow. You see, that's similar to that chart of the CRB going back about 20 years. And you saw where the CRB is, where it is, you know, in the scheme of things. It's nowhere near their highs from 2008 and 11. But the Dow, look where paper assets are. I mean, are they really undervalued relative to commodities? They might be undervalued relative to dollars, and they might keep going up. But just think about that. So it might help you understand how I'm thinking here of why hard assets and commodities should really outperform paper. And the same thing goes for silver. If you look at silver, are we really near the top in silver? Looking at this chart, going back just about 10 years. No. To finish off here, to the currencies, sterling is up 0.25%, 137.80. The euro is picking back up above 120. It's up almost 0.4% at 120.97. The dollar is down 0.5% versus the yen at 104.75. The dollar is down 0.25% versus the yuan at 642.75. So it definitely looks like the dollar is starting a new leg lower. High grade copper, 368, so it's very strong, up 0.5%. WTI crude is up 0.4% at 58.09. And to finish off, let's quickly look at where the 10-year yield is. So despite having the stock markets and commodities move up quite strongly yesterday, the 10-year yield has actually dropped. We're at 115. Yesterday when I spoke, it was 118. So as I told you, they're going to do the best they can to try to keep these yields from rising. And even the 30-year, we were at 2% yesterday. We're now at 193. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.